This Falcons team is like looking at an ex-girlfriend. Like, I know it didn't work. I know it's super toxic, but maybe we try again. Moving on to the Pittsburgh Steelers with he's waving the towel. He's a half Steeler. His in-laws are Steelers fans. I like everything about this Steelers team except the quarterback.
Yeah. So I have some beef with this roster. And like I'm rooting for the Steelers, man. Like, because my wife's a Steelers fan. Like, of course I'm gonna root for them to a degree. But like, so when I was doing some research on this, and I was really digging in on Kenny Pickett, because like his numbers, his advanced stats are actually fairly promising, but like I don't think it matches what you see on the tape. And the more you dig into it, the more you kind of find like he does not throw downfield all that accurately. Like he is one of, since I think 2012, there have been 8 quarterbacks who were below the threshold of accuracy beyond 10 yards from the line of scrimmage. And it's not a good list. Here, I'll keep talking while I pull it up, actually. But so basically, moral of the story is not that accurate downfield. But then you take a look at this roster and you think about what the offensive coordinator wants to do, Matt Canada, right? It's a lot of RPO, a lot of quick hitting stuff. But this was the worst team in the NFL for yards after catch last year. Like by far the worst. Like they averaged 4 yards after catch per reception. The next closest was 4.5, and then like 4.6, 4.6, 4.7. But they were a full half yard behind the 31st team, which that was a large gap.
Yeah.
And so you go at Allen Robinson. That's not really helping you. You have a wide receiver room built for go up and get it football while you're trying to play yard after catch football, which is just, it doesn't add up to me, especially with a quarterback who is not that accurate downfield. So the list, it was Mike Glennon, Daniel Jones, Josh Rosen, Blake Bortles, Derek Carr, Kenny Pickett, and Deshaun Kaiser. So Derek Carr is the upside projection there, but if you think back to the roster that Derek Carr had as a rookie, it was trash. It was absolute trash. It wasn't anything like this roster. It's not the greatest in the world, but the wide receiver room solid. The O-line wasn't good, but it wasn't those Raiders.
I mean, I think Pickens, Johnson, and Robinson's not a bad 3, honestly, with Freiermuth at the tight end. Like you got some studs there, and then my biggest thing with this offense outside of quarterback is I don't think Najee Harris is as good as everybody says he is. I don't know if people are still saying Najee Harris is good, but I mean, just watching it, I don't see it.
It's another thing where their offense just doesn't add up to me. Like Najee Harris, he's a 240-pound back. You know, he is not a guy who's going to be doing a lot after a catch, after contact. Like he'll break tackles, but he's not getting that many yards after a broken tackle. You know, it's like broken tackles are a lot cooler looking than they are helpful, like kind of thing. But like it's been inefficient for him. Like I think he's a really good receiver out of the backfield, but they want to run inside zone with him pretty much. And that's like, they didn't run a lot of duo or a lot of power concepts. It's really just inside zone they run with him, and they don't run him to the edges. So you think about it, a 240-pound back who can't get a matchup with a cornerback isn't all that valuable, right? Because like if he's getting tackled by 240 to 300-pound guys, he doesn't have that advantage. So I'd really like to see their offense try to get him on the edges more this year. And maybe that was offensive tackle problems that they think they might have fixed with going and getting Broderick Jones. But it's just odd to me that they didn't try to get him on the edges where his size really makes a difference, right?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they do it there. But looking at the defense, like TJ Watt might be the best defense player in the league. on edge from there. And then their entire defensive line is just studs. They got Minka Fitzpatrick in the secondary. They brought in Joey Porter Jr. in the draft. They brought in Patrick Peterson, who had a pretty good year last year in the twilight of his career. So,
yeah, and I mean Pat Pete, like you're pairing up with Mike Tomlin, who's a DB coach at heart. Like he's going to put him in. Like I think Pat Pete has limitations at this point in his career, but he's with a coach who's going to know those limitations and know how to squeeze the last bits of productiveness out of him that he can by putting him in those positions. And this might be the best D line in the NFL. Like,
yeah,
this is stacked. I mean, so when I was first looking at it, was like, yeah, Cam Hayward, he's a number one D lineman. He is an absolute monster. Larry Ogunjobi, probably want him out more of a rotation, but he can start for you. Okay. But then you went and nagged Keanu Benton. Now Ogunjobi doesn't even have to be your star. He can be that rotational guy exactly where he should be. Armand Watts, another good rotational guy. I mean, and then they have a few other guys here in Fehoko, Montrevious Adams, DeMarvin Leal. I mean, they just have such good depth on the interior, which is hard. It is hard to find these interior players. To have this much depth, it's very impressive. And then TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith had something like 14 or 15 sacks last year. Surprisingly, but I don't think there was a drop off when Watt was gone. They were blitzing a lot more and a lot less effectively. So like Highsmith is best working off Watt, but adding Marcus Golden to that too, there is just a lot of quality pass rush here.
Yeah, no, I love this defense here. And I love the offense outside of quarterback and running back is, I mean, I don't think Najee is a bad running back by any means. I just don't think I don't think he has earned the respect that he gets by people. But looking at this O-line's going to be a lot better with just like, I mean, I think Broderick Jones is going to take his lumps. He's very broad, but he is a special athlete. And if he can put it together.
Well, and also it puts Dan Moore at the swing tackle spot, which is where he probably should be. That's a really good swing tackle. It's not a good starter, but it's a really good swing tackle. I think it's even a below average starter. And Chuks Okorafor, he's had some nice moments, but he's been up and down his whole career. So we'll see what he has there. But this interior is good. This is a good interior O-line.
I agree. And then looking at the Vegas odds here, we're at win total of 8.5, playoffs at plus 130, division at plus 450, Super Bowl or AFC Championship at plus 2,200, and Super Bowl at plus 5,000. I'm probably not touching any of these, but if I had to touch anything, like if you made me bet on something, I like under on the wins, except that Mike Tomlin just always has a winning season.
They won 9 last year. I think they got better.
Yeah, but looking at the schedule, it's brutal. Starting out with San Francisco, and then having Cleveland come in, and then going to the Rams, going to Houston. I think Houston's going to be frisky. Then having Baltimore, and then a very, very early bye. And as soon as you come off your bye, Rams, Jacksonville, Tennessee, Green Bay, Cleveland, Cincinnati, that's tough.
So early in the season, I think I like those first 5 weeks. I think I might be betting against the Steelers a fair amount just because.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and I have a very distinct reason for that. You have, 3 new starters in your secondary? 4 new starters in your secondary between Neal and Pat Pete and Shannon Sullivan. And I'm assuming Joey Porter Jr. is going to be starting. And I think Joey Porter Jr., I think he's going to be a good player in this league. But I think it's going to take 5 or 6 weeks for him to realize that he is going to be a penalty machine if he doesn't change his play style.
Yeah, and I will say getting San Francisco week 1 with an unknown at quarterback may help them, but I mean they just run the ball so damn well and they just play good football. That maybe that's week not 1, an advantage.
That's going to be like a 16-12, just bloodbath.
Yeah, I like the under in that game for sure. But then Cleveland week 2, Deshaun Watson having a full training camp and everything that we get going on over there in Cleveland. So it's going to be tough. But yeah, I mean, gun to my head, forcing me to take a pick here, I'm probably taking under.
I'm taking
I don't.
playoffs. I
You like
mean,
on
plus
playoffs?
money. I want the plus money, and
I think there's too many.
I just
I think there's too
there's
many teams in the AFC.
I do too, but I think
plus money.
this defense and the rest of this roster outside quarterback, like I watching some of the Steelers offense today, George Pickens might be that dude. Like, I mean, he is good. He is just that good.
Yeah.
Like, he made Kenny Pickett look really good on some of those throws.
It's hard to do sometimes. But all right, so you're taking playoffs. I'm taking under. You want to go to the next team?
Well, just on the Kenny Pickett front, real quick. He does some stuff as a quarterback that you see as impressive mental stuff. You see, like, the way that he is deducting stuff pre-snap and the way that he's reading the field and making decisions based off what he's seeing change at the snap. He does show some of that stuff. My hesitation with him is really, I just don't see enough zip on the football. And that really like when he is going from one hash across the field to the sideline, it's just that ball feels like it's in the air forever, and that's what really worries me with him. But the mental side, it does seem like he has it. So in true Steelers fashion, they might just stick with this guy for 4 years and let him keep getting like a little bit better, and before you know it, he's like Derek Carr or Alex Smith. But like, I think that's a big. It's asking a lot, but it is possible.
People forget how bad Ben Roethlisberger was early in his career. Like,
I can see the Steelers just sticking with this guy until he works.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Seattle Super Bowl, what he like had like 120 yards, something like that. Like, terrible game.
Yeah,
I think he threw a couple picks. Like, yeah, I mean, Big Ben wasn't good early. He got better, and then they brought all the talent, and then they couldn't miss on wide receiver for 10 straight years.
Yeah,
that didn't hurt.
So the thing I was saying about the receivers earlier that I didn't know yards after catch guys, they got to get Calvin Austin more involved in this offense somehow. He didn't play at all on offense last year, just as a punt returner, and that is like who they need. Like, that is the type of player they need in the offense that they want to run.